fantastic School of Architecture. So, can you tell me about what happened when you were studying in your first year in particular at Oxford Brookes?
So my first year went reasonably well in terms of my education, the studying side of it. I at all means I had to pass it without fail. But there were a lot of bullying happening in first year as well because my I had a lot of personality clashes with the people there. They found it very threatening, different, to speak different, speak my mind especially, and it was a very eye-opening, but also I had to find my voice again. I had to find myself again for me to stand up against that, because I started to do that whenever I would speak about things that I believed in. People would find it as if I'm imposing my views onto them. I could not express what I believed in, could not express about my thoughts. It would be as if I am coming in and feeding them with information how to live, how to think. When it was the opposite way, I was told that I cannot, think freely, think differently. I have to be submissive. I have to be conforming to what everyone else thinks and not have an individual voice. Um, so whenever I did speak up, it was seen as I have an attitude. I'm rude. My first year, um, I used to hang out with a lot of big groups of friends, and that didn't particularly play to my favor because I just got merged with many different thoughts who are in the same school of thoughts, and they have the same ideas, same way of thinking, same way of speaking, dressing, um, and I just did not fit into that, nor did I ever wanted to fit into that. And there was a time that I tried to fit in, and I nearly, quite possibly, lost myself. I completely forgot who I was, and I started to do the things that was favorable to others and was trying to fit in, and I would never try to do that. I would never try to fit in any sort of situation, whether social, political, or any sort of any any space. I would always speak my mind and have confidence in that, because what I'm saying is I believe in it. But I lost that belief when I was constantly shut down by um, by voices that I felt were um, more bigger and powerful than me, because because I was oppressed, and it was the other way around, because my voice was, irking them. My voice was, it was looking in for them. It was looking into a mirror. What they wanted to become, they couldn't, because they couldn't speak their mind. They couldn't think freely, and I started to feel insecure about many things, about my height, about my accent, and now about my freedom of thought, my freedom of speech, and I just couldn't express myself. Going into year two, when I moved in with the very people I thought were my friends, suddenly completely, and that's how I've thought, because that's how I've been, sort of, my mindset is. And I did not feel welcome within my housemates. And suddenly there was this void within my housemates and I, because we we were close friends in year one. Suddenly it just changed. Um, when I first moved into the house, I was 10 minutes late for choosing the room, and everyone has chosen their room. We said we're going to choose the room when everyone is here. It was just it was just not respected. And I remember my mum, when she was helping me setting up my room, she was telling me, this is not a good decision. You're not gonna do. It's not gonna play out nicely with the girls in here. You're gonna have a hard time. I didn't listen to Mom. I told her they're like my sisters, they're like my brothers. You know, I know them. You don't know them. You know, I've spent time with them. And you know how mums are. You know, they know your true friends, and they just need to lay an eye on them, and they know immediately. Um, and yeah, so it started to sort of become very bitter and sour, and I started to be in my room more often, and started to spend more time alone, and make friends elsewhere, because the friends I thought I was sharing the house, they were not my friends anymore. Suddenly, all the friends I had in year one, they're all friends together, but I'm not friends with any of them. And one of my housemates said it to my face and in message as well, that how can a person be so arrogant and so difficult that she lost all her friends in such a short period of time. Um, you know, yeah, it's just, and my social media presence was also very, very disliked by my peers, by my, by everyone really. Just, um, everyone was saying this. Oh, this, she thinks so highly of herself. She has 5,000 followers, and she 5,000 followers is nothing. It's nothing compared to what other people are doing for themselves in the same platform. People want to connect with you. You know, it's a given. If you're seeing someone who's making a presence, we want to connect with you. We want to collaborate with you. We want to make projects with you. It's seen as a positive thing. Even my sisters and my family are shocked how is that seen negatively, because it's just baffling how if someone is making an online presence and actively hiding it from their peers, from their education, so that they don't know, oh, this person has so and so following, so and so doing this and that. I would actively hide it from people that I have any presence. I barely followed anyone in my sort of year group or my community, because I felt that this is something personal and separate, and I've always kept this personal and separate away from it, and no one needs to know about it. But people would spread rumors about me, spread things that I'm this. I think so highly of myself. I think I look down upon people. I think I'm superior, you know, and superior to them, and think that I'm making money and I'm leeching people's money because I didn't pay the rent, because I was going through depression, having, panic attack after panic attack and anxiety, and I was diagnosed with severe depression and severe anxiety in 2018, and that's when I failed my.
I just want to say though that the the students were betting on you failing.
That was before even failing, so that was in my first time doing my year two in 2017. Um, so I was with one of my good friends at the time. We were very, very, very close, and still think about her from time to time. So that was we were the support system for each other. You know, she also failed her year, her second year, and I was in my second year, and so we were supporting each other. Um, we were very close friends at the time, and yeah, so we were sitting down, sitting down on a table on a hot desk, almost, so working. And after I finished my sort of tutorial, we talked about how was the tutorial? What did you do? Did you get feedback? And at that time, I was barely going on my tutorials. I was barely attending, you know, and it was one of the feedbacks probably in the semester I was getting, and people saw less of me, started to spread rumors about me, started to talk about how um, you know, how I'm this failing student who's just not showing up. No one has ever. I made it a mission that I'm never going to show my work to anyone. For anyone to judge on it, for anyone to give their commentary on it, or to because there's no evidence for them to go on about. It's just words. Because there's no evidence for them to say, oh, that work isn't good enough, or she did, or the only thing that you can say that I have no work, because I'm not showing them any work. So I see this one guy who, he like bullying, just making, just spreading rumors, just talking about it. And then there's girls around him talking, they were just they were all just in a group on a table, just saying, "Oh, did you see she's here? Did you see we didn't expect her to be here? What do you think she's gonna pass this year?" They were just talking like that, just almost like placing a bet, like, "What do you think?" Or, just like having a discussion about it. There's this it's this big atrium space, and there's design studio on this side, design studio on this side, and big atrium space. And there's this sort of corridor that connects those two buildings together. So I'm here and I can hear them, and it's just blind spot, and I can hear them speaking about me. Same thing happened when I bought my model, and it was the last tutorial, I think. The last ever tutorial we're gonna get feedback until we're left on our own to submit our work. And I showed my model. I was so proud of. I was working on it. I was doing so well. I made this nice design, restaurant design. I was saying, "Oh, I have these copper pipes going up and down," and I was telling to this girl in the bus about, and she was saying, "Oh, my design is very similar to yours," and that was one of the girls that, they were all talking about, how, how I was not attending, how I was a failing student, and when I finished the tutorial and I left my model and I was in that corridor space, because away from all the crowd, away from the people, I would actively run away from people. I would actively hide myself away. There were over the years, I would also take off my glasses and literally just see faces with no face, just no expression, because I would just be. Oh, it was a safe zone for me, because if I'm not able to see what people are making the expression, I'm okay. At least I can face them. Having panic attack, being in the studio, having anxiety attack, being scared that this person is gonna say something right now. This person is gonna come and tell me. So she comes literally running towards me to come and see what my model is, to come and see what my model looks like. And then when she saw, she asked, "Oh, this is this, okay." She made a judgment, "Okay, this is how it looks like. Okay," didn't give much away. Immediately went running back to the very table. "Oh, did you see? Did you see? There's that model there, she bought her work." All I can do is laugh, really, because if I thought too much about it, I would break down. If I thought too deeply about it, I would start
Yeah, I
to.
was just going to say, and then there was, I think every university course has a field trip, and you went to the wonderful Florence, and it's just worth, I think, talking about what happened when you went on that architectural field trip. How well, just tell me what happened.
So the field trip was the first time I sort of failed the year, and that was in 2018. the experience progressing through 2016 to 2017 was getting worse and worse, and I became more lonelier and more. I felt more alone. I felt because I failed for the first time in Oxford Brooks. Failed again. Again, I failed. Again, it's like, okay, history repeating. You know, here we go again. It's just no escape from this. And it was just almost, it felt like it was just latched onto me, onto my back like a leech. You can't take it off because it's sucking everything away from me. You know, every ounce and every bit of hope that I've had, and I have at the time, you know, it was just becoming very, very dark progressively. And my housemates were saying to me, "Oh, do you want to extend the contract?" And the only reason I extended the contract because of my neighbour's cat. I just could not leave him. Whenever I'm going on field trips, I also because we're going in groups, you're expected to be in groups and do things in groups and be with people. I would do things on my own, and I was with two of my other classmates, who are quite lovely, and I was hanging out with them quite a lot. And you know, just away from the crowd, away from the people who, because I was already being bullied by my unit at that time, you know, and one of the girls in the lift was telling me, "Oh, you don't care about your degree." She was screaming her lungs off, you know, her shouting at me then that I don't give two shit about my sorry my language, two like don't give an ounce of care about my degree, and apparently I'm failing on purpose, you know. And it was in the lift with another boy, and bless him, he just could not, you know, stand up because it's not his fight, you know, it's my fight. But he could just see, like, you know, personally attacking me completely, because of a project. So there's already a lot of people that I was not getting along with, and who were actively bullying, you know. So on the trip, I was unwell on the trip, extremely unwell, and yet I still went. I don't know why I still went, because I paid for the trip and everything, but I still felt like, okay, maybe it would be a good chance to visit another country. I'm gonna do my own thing, just away from the crowd, because that's what I like doing. I just like to be away from the crowd, and I'm just gonna go off a tangent and go and explore the city my own. So at the time, there was this, prior to the trip, we had the Secret Santa event. We were giving out gifts and everyone, and I was broke at the time. I only had £30 in my account. And on the trip, so this very person who later on screamed and shouted at me, this very person said that, okay, there's someone starting with the letter J gave you, you know, the gift. And the way they said it felt like, okay, it might be a guy, you know, it might be a guy kind of thing. And because it was just the way they were saying it, it just felt very, you know, it just felt very weird, you know, making a big deal out of it. Because I was like, oh my god, who gave the Secret Santa? They were like, oh, it's this person named Jay gave it, you know. And I'm like, who is Jay? Like, who, what? And on the trip, we were sort of, when I found out the gift was glitters and makeup and very girly things, and I've always been actively masculine about my personality, and I don't know why I was like explaining to people that I'm so masculine and in personality, but I dress very femininely. You know, I just had to. I don't know why I was trying to prove myself, my personality to anyone, but I just had felt the need to give an explanation when there was no explanation shouldn't be given in the first place. So on the train, I was saying that, oh my god, why did someone have to give me glitters and girly things? And, I just felt like all this hard work trying to build this personality of myself, that I've always been this hardcore, rebellious, sort of masculine person, but femininely dressed outwardly. And this person named Jay, who gave me the Secret Santa gift, was sitting behind my chair. Apparently, I didn't know. I had no knowledge of who gave me the gift. Santa. And knowing that Jay could be anyone within the unit, I was thinking of X, Y, and Z person. Who could it be? And because I ruled out the girls, it was not a girl, And so she started to cry. She started to have a complete meltdown and went to the girls who were bullying me, who already disliked me, who already hated my guts, who already had an opinion about me, fixed opinion. And so she had a meltdown. The next day we were walking around the streets in Florence, and she sort of, in front of everyone, didn't even take me to the side. Everyone's looking. She was like, how dare you make this person cry? You have no feelings. You think you're so high, making money on social media. You think you're so rich, and I was not making a penny. Everything was going out of my own pocket for my own channel. Whatever I'm doing, whatever I'm filming, making. And my passion started to deteriorate from there, because I was making less content. I started to disappear from my socials, and they got to me. I let them get to me. I let those people get to me. I let those people opinions become facts. They're opinions, they're not facts, but for me they became facts. She started to scream at me, and everyone's looking. The tutors are there. No one stood up for me. Not even the tutors came and said that what she was doing was wrong. Why are you screaming in front of in the middle of the street, and everyone's staring at me as if I'm this alien. My friend at the time, she saw she's coming towards me. She distanced herself. She just went away, because again, I empathize, because I understand, I learned that myself. It's not my fight. I'm not going to go into this, So she distanced herself, and then later on, so I started to get really puffed up and red, and I can't remember if I cried. I think I did. I was coughing the entire trip. I was extremely unwell the entire trip. And I remember my friend, so they all started to dissipate some towards the way the tutor was moving. They were moving down there. Everyone was looking at me. Everyone. And I went the other direction. I went to this gelato's ice cream place, and my friend at the time, she was there with me. She was giving me support, and I was just having a meltdown in the gelato place. Just having a complete panic attack, and just did not understand the attack that was everyone, and no one stood up for me. And that God, she was there to support me in any. No, there's one of my tutors said that he's a tech tutor. He was quite lovely. He was from Calcutta. We spoke the same language, Bengali. So obviously he can tell that I'm upset. I don't think he saw the incident. One of the other tutors, they can see there's something going on. They were far off. They were a bit far off, but they can see that there's shouting going on, and there's bullying going on. All the students could see, everyone. One of my housemates was also in the same unit. She saw. No one stood up. no one sort of said, because everyone thought I was the one wrong, and I regret the fact that I was trying to explain myself in the first place. I regret the fact that I was trying to explain to the people who are strangers to me, who are not even my friends, not even just classmates, even like bare acquaintances, not even acquaintances. I don't know why I felt the need to explain my personality to someone, because that's where I went wrong. The fact that I gave someone the chance, the power to question me, and that's where I went wrong. So after that, what happened was faith happened. Like, out of all the things, before this Florence situation, we were in another city, Bologna. I was in the room with my bullies, with the three girls, the girls that the incident was going to happen, she was going to cry, the girl who was going to scream at me, and the girl who screamed in the lift prior to before the trip. I was in a room with them, I was in the same room, and my housemate and the other girls who I thought, they're much far more lovely people than them. I wanted to be in a different room, especially with the friend who, who helped me in the ice cream place. I was in that room with them, and I just thought, I'm so panicky right now, I'm so scared, and that they're gonna come and attack me again. My way of dealing with these kind of situations is through humor. So I decided to make a joke, and I was sitting on the bed with my suitcase crumbled up to me so tight. I was just saying, like, isn't it so funny, we're stuck in a room together. They got furious. How can she make a joke? What's so funny about this? What's funny? What's so funny? They were just looking at me. I'm just this sort of otherworldly being who just did not. I was just constantly made feel alienated. Every step of the way. It was just very very crippling. Yeah, it was very crippling. And I just felt, and I was like, no, I need to get out of that room. I just left with my bag, with my suitcase, and I just left, and I just had to sort of get away from there. And I was like, oh, can someone exchange a room with me again? And thankfully I did. I exchanged a room with my friend there at the time. So yeah. And after that, the things got very dark, and the very people who did not stood up for me. And then towards the end of the Florence trip, we were in Florence for 2 days. The next day, everyone started to become friendly, started to become nice, as if nothing happened. Some people started to sit next to me and started to chat to me, and they were making jokes about me. Oh, look at you and this guy. They were making jokes. I'm like, you have no right to make a joke about me. This other person who is a good friend with this guy and the girl, who were very, very, very kind to me, at the time on the trip we were. So I was hanging out with them, and they started to tease me with them, and I'm like, those very people who were bullying me, I'm like, on what grounds? You're not my friend. We have no relationship with each other. Why are you making such commentary about me? Teasing me with someone else, and taking pictures, and it was just a weird way of. It felt like bullying, but also it felt like they were trying to, you know, be friendly with me in a very creepy, weird way, teasing me and being trying to be friend with me out of nowhere in um in in front of we were in front of the the leaning tower of Pisa. We were in front of that, and yeah, it was just so. It was absolutely like blasé. Like, what is going on? Like, it was so weird.
Experiences that you've described there, and it's horrendous that this happened. And what I think is if you're willing to share with what happened next in terms of, you know, you I think 13 when you first considered essentially you know, taking your own life, you know, and what happened, what happened next following this repeating bullying that was going on at Oxford?
Um, it was extremely scary. I felt alone. I felt the same feeling at that time. Um, that I lost all my friends the minute I failed. I lost everyone, all the people, all the friends that I started off with. Um, Suddenly, no one wanted to be friends with me. Um, and constantly being bullied in university, whether I'm going or not going. When I went to do my work in the library, this girl in the lift, who I thought was my friend, we were not in contact for a year. She was friends with one of the girls who was screaming at me in Florence. And there's the people's opinions sort of becomes facts for you, because if you hang out with people who actively hate you, you start hating those same people as well because you're hanging out with them more, you know. Um, and I was in the library doing my work, and then she weirdly, randomly, we didn't say hi to each other in the lift or anything. I was just looking straight ahead into nothingness, um, thinking that there's nothing exists in my realm, in every. Um, and she was asking me, "Oh, are you here to study? Are you here to do work? What are you doing? What's your project?" No contact for a year. I don't know what's up with you. Suddenly asking me what I'm up here doing. Starts curious and then running off to the very people and updating them on that news. Because no one knows about it. I made it mission. No one knows what I'm up to. I disappeared on the face of the university on my social media. Started to lose less and less. Started to become very closed off. I was in my room for days and days and weeks and months. I was not leaving my room. I didn't see my family for 6 months or so, towards in the very beginning of the 2008, when I failed my dissertation. And that was my and I failed my design in the same year. First time I failed it, you know. Um, and then I was like, oh, another failure. I failed my dissertation. People were spreading rumors about me, saying I'm not even sure if I want to even say it because it's gonna create another conversation. But I've always sort of been very jolly and outwardly happy, when inside I'm hurting or anything. This one guy from my unit said it to my face. There are people spreading rumors about you, saying that you do drugs. That's why you're so happy all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I
Yeah, so to be told that you do drugs for being happy when inside you're dealing with depression, anxiety, antidepressants, anti-anxiety. Learned that I failed my dissertation because it was one of the sort of main compulsory. I was like, oh no, I knew I could probably retake it in summer, but I also didn't pass the summer resit as well. It was just very difficult for me to um, for me to accept the fact that this happened again, and and in the midst of all of that, completely alienated. Housemates started to have parties with the friends. We were all friends together. They were having parties upstairs. I remember crying in my pillow. I opened this door for my friend. They were having a party. I was not invited in my own house. I was in my room crying into a pillow, and then towards the year, when I found out about my dissertation outcome, it just all fell apart for me. It was extremely, extremely dark. I just did not know how to, how, how my immediate sort of call was just to hide away, crawl away, just be out of everyone's presence. No one needs to know that I'm even here, So it was for a year and a half, a year. I've been contemplating nearly every day and several times a day towards 2017. Every day about committing how I would do it, how I would go about doing it. How will it be if I don't succeed? And and finding out ways, finding out, oh, this would be a fast and easy way, or this would be a pain. I would go out of my way to cause myself pain because I thought I deserved it, and yeah. So I did it one time, and I did it with a pillow. It didn't work out because I was crying so much I passed out. I was in Clubhouse the other day and I heard the very similar story of another woman who tried to do it twice. And the second time was a pillow and she too passed out. And it was Allah's blessing that I'm still here. Because that was the only thing that was driving me and not sort of actually doing it because of my faith and my family and the fear of what's going to happen post doing it and succeeding in it. After that, I remember I was trying to get myself happy again. Towards the end of March, when it was my 22nd birthday, I did this sort of a little over the top, extravagant sort of birthday to feel something, to feel some sort of happiness. Sorry. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, so going back on to just briefly about the birthday thing. On that day, I was sort of celebrating just to not feel numb or anything because I was just completely disconnected from the world, and I invited my best friend to come, and it was from London then as well. If she wasn't there, I think that I would have tried to do it one more time because on that day my housemates and everything, it was a very, very sad day for me. Everything was going wrong. Um, and my housemates, the friends that suddenly decided to join me with the party, and then they went on celebrating some stranger's party the whole night. And I was just breaking down. I was like, "What's happening?" And my best friend, we were near the river. If she wasn't there, I really don't know. Even to this day, I really don't know what would have done. Um, with the help, the first time, a few weeks later, we had our final cross crits, and I didn't attend it. The program leader was very concerned, sent emails through, letters through to me, to my parents, who were very concerned about the circumstance, what your education stands and what's going on, why you're not attending, and is there anything happening? And she was the first person I've actually sort of said that to, because I because it was, otherwise it would have been the end if I didn't tell her. I would probably be asked to leave the university because I didn't have the attendance, didn't have the work to do. I mean, they were gravely concerned for my academic performance. Um, so I told her for the first time what happened and that I tried to commit suicide. And it was then when she told me that you need to seek counselling, you need to go and do all the things. She was extremely shocked. All my tutors were shocked because I've always portrayed myself as this very jolly, happy person, always smiling, always being, you know, just wouldn't give any sign that I'm going through anything, you know. And it was a very shocking. It was very shocking for them. I did tell that there was bullying happening to my tutors, but no actions was kind of taken against those bullies, but I was given the support that I needed from my tutors. I was able to get disregard, able to get counselling and therapy, and I was in counselling for that period of time for 6 weeks, and that helped. And then going forward to 2018, 2019, that's when I sort of sought for more professional sort of integrated therapy. So I did a 16 weeks long therapy. Prior to that, I was under medication. I was numb for months. Not a single drop of tear would come out of my eyes because I was so detached, and because the antidepressant side effect makes you completely numb. And I was also taking anxiety medication whenever I would feel anxious. But the antidepressant really took a toll on me because it was completely detached from myself. Yeah. So I was taking the therapy 2018, 2019. I didn't pass again. At that time, I was struggling with a lot of my perfectionism tendencies, and 2019, I was also struggling with my self-esteem, and there were also other personal issues that was going on that I was not able to meet the demands at the time, and constantly negative talk. It became my absolute worst enemy over the years. I would want the worst for myself because I thought everyone else wants it. Everyone else is wishing for it, praying for it. you know, outwardly saying it to my face, you know, outrightly, you know. So I was still recovering from that, and then I got off my medication because it was only suppressing those demons even more, and I was not head on sort of facing them. So I got off them, um, um, and yeah, so it was just getting off them. Obviously, brought back all those suppressed feelings and all those demons and dark thoughts back again, because it was going back to square one, even back from that, because being numb for so long and then being able to feel emotions again, and a wave of emotions is
Movement on the year before.
even the year before. My classmates were very good, you know, very there was no bitterness or anything, you know. It was just I was away from home, I was commuting from home, um, and that was a positive thing. But there were other underlying factors that don't that has affected me in 2019, and also starting to sort of find myself in 2019 to 2020. That's when I took my year out, and that was the first time I had a break from medication. And the things that I was proud of was doing a upcycle sort of project with the VNA, and that was the biggest, um, proudest moment of my life in my career. I was okay. That's something I have got accomplished, you know. Even if it's not a degree, I tried to give my life for my degree. You know, it's just a piece of paper. It took me a lot to get my head around that. It's just a piece of paper, and it's okay. That it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. Um, so 2020 has been an extremely good year in terms of, for others it has been a very, you know, dreadful, very saddening year. For me, it has been a blessing in disguise, because the virtual sort of studio was there, and I was able to be more. I I attended 90, 95, probably 98%. I missed only 4 tutorials over the entire year. Never have I ever done that before. That would be the other way around. I would attend 4 tutorials and miss all of them. And this year I've attended all of them because of the wonderful tutors that I have. They've been extremely supportive, and the support from my university as well. I think I do have this feeling of incompleteness, that, you know, the bullies are, they nothing was done about them, and I just never thought of it like that, because I thought, well, my university is supporting me, it's helping me, you know, that's more than enough, that's more than I can ask for. But it was just not. I just did not get the justice I needed, I guess.
Yeah, I was just thinking, so coronavirus and virtual learning has been fantastic for you. I'm just concerned myself, um, that we are coming out of this, and September will be your third year for completing your degree in architecture. So I just wonder if there's there's something that you could put in place, or that the university could put in place to help you get through going back and meeting people face to face, so we don't get a repeat of this. What are your thoughts on that, going back into physical learning environments?
Yeah, it's not something I'm actually thinking about at all. It's something that my full stop at the moment is just submitting my work, which is in July. So just submit that, and then I think I would want to sort of, I think I will address that to them, that this virtual studio has really helped me, and to be remote studying has helped me, and to be given the opportunity more, and to be and I think given that option for me to do that as a permanent thing for next year would be the best way for me to progress and pass my year, because yes, I can go and do the work, but I think as an in-person practically, but if we can do that and still pass virtually, especially for myself, I think I'd want that put in place. Um, 100%. It's all about yourself. You know, if you are your worst enemy, doesn't matter what the world is going to say. You know, you're going to believe in it because you're constantly playing that cassette on repeat, and it's not anyone else's voice; it's your voice. And for myself, my voice has been the biggest voice of my own self-destruction, because I believed in those words and I repeated those words from my own mouth to myself. And doing that has affected me so much more than any of the things the world has to say, because I believed in the opinions and turned them into facts. You know, turned them into factual, you know, database in my head that this is so and so, how about me, and this is the way it is. You know, this is the way, and I just believed in it so strongly. I just didn't see the other side of myself that wanted to get out of it. I would scream in my own mind, let me out, let me out, you know. I could hear my own thoughts, you know. I could feel it. I could feel the cage I've built for myself, um, with all these all these negative self-talk, self-destructive behavior, perfectionism. They all have, it's with the bullying, but also with this constant negative self-talk. That's where all these narratives came about. So I was struggling with self-esteem, self-confidence, and believing that I have experience and I have the knowledge and the skills I've acquired over the years, and tackling with imposter syndrome, because everyone goes through that. Everyone feels like a fraud. But for me to feel like a fraud, even though I have 8 years of skills that I've acquired over the years, and yet still feel like a fraud, I still feel like I'm not. It's all. It's yeah. I think if you are your worst enemy, there's no matter who says what, you are enough to destroy yourself. Yeah. And with that as well. Yeah. With how I dealt with my anxiety and also um, self harm and all of that, I think I've always gave into that. I've always believed in whatever was fed into my head, whatever I was feeding into my head. And after therapy and learning that I don't have to participate in those, I can just be an outside observer, like almost like a third entity, and let it flow over my head and not let it affect me, not think about it. And I think that has been a big mind shift for me, because I was not able to find the right key to unlock that part of myself, because I would be so consumed in self-hate that my own thing was enough, you know. It was enough to lead me to this path. And 100% the bullying and everything, they're a contributing factor, you know. All of this is a contributing factor. But if I constantly give those thoughts permission to act on my thoughts and to make decisions for my thoughts, then there's no way for me to go than other than downwards, you know. There's no, because I would keep on pulling myself down, you know. um, and you become your own anchor. With regards to asking for help and asking for Samaritans, and I didn't go for Samaritans per se. I used my sister's sort of services that were given to her from her work, and is available to family and everything. And that was really helpful, to talk to someone on the phone, on a weekly. Even though when my therapy was over, I was able to talk to. The only thing that was not good about this is that whenever you're calling on a day, you spoke to this person, and the next week you call this number again, it's a different person. So you have to feel like you have to start from scratch again, start from what happened, because you're not talking to the same person on the phone. You're speaking to a different person. But regardless, that still helped me to some degree, because I was able to relieve myself from talking to myself constantly about the things that are happening, and replaying those events in my head constantly. It was extremely exhausting, and still is exhausting, because it's still a very big, you know, well, not part of me, but it's part of who I am today. Um, I suppose, yes, it is part of me, and it's just not going to go anywhere, because I guess it is part of my identity.
What message would you give to the people who bullied you at the universities? What, you know, if you could tell them, I don't know, in a few sentences, you know.
They tried to break me, you know, but they did not succeed, because I'm still doing my degree. I'm still, it's 8 years running now. You know, they thought they could. I'm back on my social media again. I'm back, you know, making my platform, doing the content that I need to, doing all the things that I want to, that was taken away from me, because I believed in what the opinions they've made for me, and I've stopped doing the things that I'm passionate about. But I did not, because I took a break from it, and now I'm back on it. So yeah, I don't think if they even wanted to stop me, they couldn't, because I would just keep soaring. And even if it is me falling down, and you know, I'll just find a way to back um, get back up again, because the biggest source of what has been my biggest source of survival is hope. And if I lose that, then it's complete darkness for me. And yeah, and for myself, it has been my family, my God, Allah, and yeah, and it's just been, and my friends who've been there and helped me through these times.